and welcome to the first Plugged In episode of 2022. Join us as we take a walk down memory lane and feature some of the highlights from our 2021 episodes. It was an exciting year on Plugged In as the BC Yukon branch turned 50. So stay with us because a look back at all the action is coming up next, right here on Plugged In. 2021 arrived and the Kidney Foundation was ready with a host of exciting events on the horizon for kidney patients to participate in. If keeping your kidneys healthy was on your New Year's resolution list, Talking Kidney had 5 great tips for you.
Hi, I'm David C. Jones with Sydney the Kidney, and this is Talking Kidney. And today we're going to be talking about 5 important ways to keep your kidneys healthy and happy. Number 1, feed them a healthy diet. Number 2, reduce your salt intake. Number 3, keep your kidneys fit and healthy. Number 4, keep them hydrated. Number 5, don't smoke.
And we shared quick and easy kidney-friendly breakfast ideas if 2021 had you on the go. February is Heart and Stroke Awareness Month, and in our Did You Know segment, we highlighted the link between kidney disease and heart disease. Did you know that there is a correlation between heart disease and kidney disease? You see, your heart and kidneys are 2 important organs in your body. They work together to keep you healthy, and when one is affected, the other one is too. In other words, your heart can affect the health of your kidneys, and your kidneys can affect the health of your heart. And we introduced you to Cam, a kidney patient who talked about how she benefited from a friendly call by our Kidney Community Call volunteers.
When you received the call, a little bit out of the blue, from a Kidney Foundation volunteer, just checking in on you, were you surprised?
I was really surprised. Definitely was not expecting a call. It was really good to hear a familiar voice, a happy voice, just having that conversation. How are you doing? How is life? What's been going on in your life? Just having that interaction with a fellow kidney person out of the group was really good.
And our Valentine's Day episode warmed both the hearts and souls of kidney patients as we showcased the volunteer Warm the Soul initiative that benefited kidney patients in BC's Okanagan.
I'm so happy to be here. Talking about the Warm the Soul campaign is something that really means a lot to me. It reminds me of before I had my kidney transplant, my feet were always cold, and I remember a friend gave me a big, thick pair of warm socks for Christmas. And I literally remember that to the day because I wore those socks out till they had holes in them. It made a big difference in my life.
So I'm taking the name Warm the Soul. There's a little play on words there for this campaign.
It's a bit of a pun, right? We're trying to reach the kidney patients, the dialysis patients, specifically that are going in center, in hospital, warming their soul, but also warming the soles of their feet.
March was Kidney Health Month, and in a special documentary, we took a look back at the impact that COVID-19 had on kidney patients 1 year later.
This March, as we talk about Kidney Health Month once again, we also wanted to hear firsthand from patients and their loved ones as to how this pandemic has impacted their lives. Welcome to COVID-19, 1 year later.
The first time when I took him to the hospital when his potassium dropped, and not being able to go into the emergency with him, and sitting in the cold, wet, dark, blowy parking lot, wondering what was going on, that is kind of when I realized that the whole world had changed.
Overall, it was an emotional time. For myself as well, still to this day, I do have those waves.
In general, people don't want to share bad news. They don't want to share that they're sick. They don't want to look weak. But we bit the bullet and we exposed ourselves and what we were going through. And I think there's a level of relief that's associated with it. I certainly feel freed of what I'm going through because I've shared.
April is dedicated to raising awareness about organ donation registration, and April 7th was the day to go green in honor of Logan Boulay, a young man who inspired a movement across our nation. We proudly welcomed Logan's parents, Bernadine and Toby Boulay, to Plugged In to talk about their son's legacy.
The Logan Boulay effect kind of really started quite quickly. At the beginning, it was called more the Logan effect. Because of the impact that not only the crash had on so many Canadians, but also just Logan's decision and his desire to be an organ donor, and then our ability to be able to carry that through. And all of a sudden, it just inspired people all across Canada, then into the States and across the world to become registered organ donors. And so then it just kind of blossomed or bloomed to become the Logan Boulay effect, which kind of seemed odd to us because it was just more like it was the right thing to do. It's what our son had wanted to do. And to have something so far reaching was actually really incredible. And that it actually got labeled the Logan Boulay effect was sort of more than we could almost believe would happen from something that we thought was just the right thing to do at that time.
And NOTDA, National Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Week, takes place from the 18th to the 24th and celebrates organ and tissue donation and raises awareness about the critical need for more organ donors across Canada. To highlight this vital need, Alexis and Rob are back to share with us the journey they're currently on in search of a living kidney donor for Alexis.
It was very important to me to be the first one to get tested, despite high likelihood that I will not end up being a successful match. To give Ali my kidney, it was really important for me to know the process before I could, go ask a friend or family to consider going through this process, that I knew it myself. And I'd never ask somebody to do something that I wasn't willing to do myself. And so going through that process and seeing it from not only, being a partner of a potential recipient to a potential donor, it's given me great confidence that they've built in a confidential, private, rigorous, comprehensive process that really looks out for both the donor's best interest, but also the recipient's.
National Volunteer Week is an opportunity for the Kidney Foundation to recognize the passion, the commitment, the expertise, and the generosity of thousands of Kidney Foundation volunteers who help provide kidney patients with invaluable comfort and support each and every day.
In front of my face, vanishing without a trace. I guess you'd say I've had better days.
And in May, continuing the conversation about organ donation, we welcomed from Saskatchewan transplant surgeon Mike Moser, who discussed the process involved in being tested to become a living donor.
It is a process that can honestly take from 3 to 6 months. So it does involve a lot of testing. We need to make sure that we are not putting donors at any excessive risk. We want to identify any problems that they might have down the line, perhaps. And, the sad truth is, or, it is what it is that about 50% of the people who present as potential living donors, we find something along the testing to rule them out. And that might be early on at the testing questionnaire, that very first phone call. It might be in some of the early blood tests, and it might not be until that very last CAT scan that tells us all about the anatomy in there. So we do have to make sure we're very careful. The last thing in the world we want is for somebody who's doing such a great deed as donating a kidney. We really don't want anything bad to come of that.
And in May, with summer right around the corner, we talked about movement, wellness, and kidney disease with Dr. Kristen Parker as she discussed the positive impact that movement can have on your kidney health.
I had a wonderful nephrologist I worked with for many years, Dr. Hans, out here in Calgary, and he always used to say, physicians are not magicians. And I love that quote because it really puts the ownership on you guys for how well you're going to live with your kidney journey, your kidney disease situation. And when I talk about exercise, I talk to my patients over the years and I've said, well, you know, this is the stuff we want to try doing, little bits and bobs here and there. And people will tell me, well, that sounds like a lot of work. And I would suggest that you are going to have to work either way. Either you work a little now and it's easier later, or you don't work now, fine, sit around, don't, do what these little tasks are really going to help you with. And you're going to be challenged a lot more later in life. And I've seen that over the 12 years I worked in hemodialysis units. Remember too, that you are worth the work.
In June, in honor of Canadian Environment Week, the BC and Yukon branch rolled out a new recycling initiative called Kidney Cans.
It's easy to be a community hero for the Kidney Foundation with Return It Express. Just bring your unsorted beverage containers in a sealed clear plastic bag to your local Return It Express depot or kiosk. Print your tags with account number Kidney Cans, stick them on the bags, and leave them in the designated area. Return It Express will sort, count, and refund your deposit to the Kidney Foundation BC and Yukon account. It's that easy. Find out more at kidney.ca/kidneycans.
And we proudly introduced you to a remarkable young woman, Ellie Adams, who recently received a multiple organ transplant, receiving both a kidney and pancreas simultaneously from a cadaveric donor.
So my name's Ellie Adams. I'm 34 years old and I live and work in Toronto. I work for a law firm by the name of McCarthy Tatro and I'm a senior communications manager there. And my fun fact, that is a new fun fact, is I have 3 kidneys and 2 pancreas, and very proud of that fun fact, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it.
In July, we brought you kidney-friendly nutritional advice and delicious recipes, courtesy of the Kidney Community Kitchen. The goal of the Kidney Community Kitchen is to empower its users through information and resources so that they can take ownership of their condition and manage kidney disease to the best of their ability. And it was time to lace up those sneakers and start walking, because the Kidney March team was there to tell you how you could join an epic 100-kilometer trek to help raise awareness about kidney disease.
Kidney March this year is going to allow you to participate no matter where you are, no matter what continent, what country, or where in the country you are. We want you to join our incredible Kidney March family from any place.
And in August, Dr. Garg, a renowned BC physician and community leader, joined us to talk about chronic diseases that disproportionately impact the South Asian community, namely kidney disease, diabetes, and high blood pressure. And he discussed how these are interrelated.
So if you ask me in one sum up point, and that would be that your behavior related to your lifestyle, which is related to dietary habits, I should say, not just the diet, but dietary habits. And I think there is a lot of science on it. And the nice thing is, it's within you.
And you met Kate Chong, Manager of Programs and Services at the BC and Yukon branch. And she talked about everything that the branch offers that's designed to support kidney patients and their caregivers.
Many people are unaware of the programs and services designed to support kidney patients and their caregivers here in British Columbia. Our short-term financial assistance program is in place to provide financial support to kidney patients at a time of crisis or when there has been an unexpected expense. We are here to help. Please reach out to us directly with any questions or speak to your social worker.
We shared highlights from the 2021 virtual kidney walk that took place in June across all Western provinces. Thousands participated in the 12th annual Kidney Walk, celebrating the strength, the hope, and the courage of those impacted by kidney disease. And when September arrived, we captured highlights of two presenters from the virtual Kidney Health and Organ Donation Forum that was hosted by the Northern Alberta and Territories branch. Dr. Sandra Cockfield spoke about living kidney transplantation from a patient's perspective.
Probably most importantly, the long-term outcomes are also better with living donor transplantation. This shows you graft survival divided between a living donor in the dark blue and a recipient of a deceased donor kidney. You can see that at 1 year, there's not a huge difference in the outcomes. There's just a couple of percentage points. But when you start to extrapolate out to 5 years or 10 years, by the time you look at 10-year graft survival, what proportion of kidneys are still functioning at 10 years, there's a 14% difference.
And Dr. Stephanie Thompson spoke about the very important role that exercise plays in supporting kidney health to ensure better health outcomes for kidney patients.
I think it's really important just to always acknowledge that the effects of kidney disease can affect your physical functioning. And this isn't always clearly explained, that there actually is a pathophysiological reason why you don't function physically as well. So just think about being more active and how that can actually make you feel better rather than what you should be doing. How can it be more enjoyable? Social connection is one very, very obvious one. Ask your care team about getting individual advice. Can I talk to the kinesiologist? Do you have a kinesiologist? Why not? You need to ask for it and about it.
And we were so excited to have Alexis and Rob Mackay-Dunn back on the show to share their great news. You guessed it, Alexis had received a kidney transplant from a living donor. And accompanying them was a very special guest, their beautiful, healthy baby daughter, Sloan.
I was actually coming off my dialysis machine and she FaceTimed me and she was like, I'm your donor. And like, we're both just in tears. So sitting in, in dialysis, like, not knowing when that was gonna end.
What's remarkable for me as I'm sitting here with my healthy baby girl and my healthy wife is just 8 months ago, the very difficult decision was made that Sloan was going to be born 8 weeks early to protect Alexis's health as much as possible and to protect her kidney health heading towards a likely transplant. Here we are 8 months later, and because of the hardworking professionals, experts at Women's Hospital, at Children's Hospital, at Lionsgate Hospital, at St. Paul's, I now have my family healthy and happy back together. And it was because of them that not only saved Alexis's life, but also Sloan's.
In October, we launched a series on peritoneal dialysis, and joining Plugged In to help demystify PD was Dr. Marianne Park.
Peritoneal dialysis is more of a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week type of therapy, where patients always have a special fluid called dialysate in their abdomen. And this dialysate helps draw out the toxins and the fluids, which then you subsequently drain out of your abdomen to get rid of the waste products. This type of dialysis is always done at home, not in a hospital setting. So peritoneal dialysis is referred to as one of the home dialysis modalities in dialysis.
And we began the first of our 3-part interview series titled A Kidney Patient's Journey on Peritoneal Dialysis.
Dialysis is a life-saving treatment for kidney disease, a disease with no cure. There are different types of dialysis treatment, and one important decision for kidney patients, once they learn they need dialysis, is to choose which treatment option is best for them. Joining us to share their experiences with peritoneal dialysis is the mother and daughter duo, Sunita and Renita.
Hi, Deb. Hi, Deb.
For both of you, after you've been diagnosed, you were both told at some point that you did need to go on dialysis. Renita, you were first up. You were, diagnosed many years ago before your mom. So maybe just go back and if you could just sort of paint a picture of what that felt like.
In 2015, I was at the theaters one day trying to walk up the stairs. I was short of breath, retaining a lot of water, went to the hospital. The doctors had asked me if I knew I had stage 4 kidney disease. And I said no. And they're like, well, your kidneys are failing. So the nurse came in and told me, you're going to have to start dialysis. And I told her, I'm like, no, I am not doing dialysis over my dead body. She goes, okay, I'll send the doctor in to talk to you. The doctor came in, looked at me and said, okay, kid, you got 3 months to live if you don't want to do dialysis. And he walked out of the room. I cried and I sat there and said, okay, I guess to live, I need to do dialysis. It was like pretty much tough love, but that's how my story started, with going on dialysis.
In January 2020, I got E. coli and I ended up in the hospital, and I was there for a month. During that time, doctors found out that I'm having kidney failure.
Her root cause of kidney failure is actually due to diabetes. The E. coli is what made her go to the hospital.
So they quickly tried to take action while I was in the hospital. They put me on hemodialysis. I've been going 3 days for 8 hours per day. After 1 year, they put me on PD. They trained me, and now I'm on PD and I'm loving it.
In November, we continued with part 2 of our interview series on peritoneal dialysis, as we talked about how recent advancements in technology have made it easier for kidney patients to connect with their healthcare teams.
With something new, there's always an adjustment. I remember my first day coming home from the hospital with my machine. Obviously, I was nervous. I was scared because you don't want to mess up. It's your body. But then you have to have the confidence, because if you don't have the confidence, you're going to mess up. Mom has a newer machine. I think it's more user-friendly and anyone can use it.
They delivered the machine at home and I hooked it up, and the machine talks.
Select a program, then touch next.
So everything comes on the screen. It says, if you hook it up wrong, it will correct you. So you look at it, you read the instruction on the machine, and you fix it. And I had no problem at all.
And to learn more about how, for over 60 years, the Kidney Foundation has had a positive impact on the lives of kidney patients living with or at risk of kidney disease. And we wrapped up November with part 3 in our interview series with Renita and Sunita. And they shared with us their reasons for choosing peritoneal dialysis and the important role the support of their caregivers made in their recovery.
It's just more of a normal lifestyle, I would say, because you do your dialysis overnight. So while you're sleeping, your dialysis is being done. I was still able to go to work a couple days a week. I wasn't attached to a machine. I didn't have to worry about going to the hospital or going to a clinic to feel better.
This is kind of a freedom for me. I have already been to my daughter's house with PD, but hemo I couldn't. I went there, I stayed a couple nights, came back, and I felt so good.
And we kicked off the month of December with the introduction of the Kidney Foundation's exciting winter raffle.
1 pack of tickets is $25, or you can get 2 packs of tickets for only $40.
The draw will be held on December 31st at 12 noon.
So what are the great prizes you can win with the winter raffle, everybody?
You could be a lucky winner of a WestJet gift of flight.
Then the dynamic mother-son duo, Chris and Mitch, shared the story of Mitch's 5-year challenging journey from CKD diagnosis to a kidney transplant.
The whole thing started when he was 19. He became quite ill. We ended up taking him to the hospital. He doesn't remember a whole lot of it because he was coughing up blood at the time. That evening, within 5 hours, he was transferred to the ICU. They said to me his kidneys were starting to shut down, but they had no idea why. Within an hour after being in the ICU, the decision was made to put him on life support. The next day, the decision was made to take him to a higher care facility because he was still declining. He was in a coma during this time, and when I arrived there, they were keeping him alive manually at that point, which was difficult. At that point, they gave my son less than 5% chance of survival. After being in a coma for 8 weeks, he woke up. After 10 weeks, he was released from the hospital.
Yeah, when I got out of the hospital, that was tough. I had trouble walking completely. My muscles pretty much didn't work.
Unfortunately, the disease wasn't through with him. So we took him back into the hospital, at which time a decision was made to do a kidney biopsy. The kidney biopsy showed that he had Goodpasture syndrome. So he was sent back to another higher care facility in Vancouver, where he was in the hospital again for 6 weeks doing plasmapheresis.
And we wrapped up the year of Plugged In with a special holiday episode, which we opened with a holiday message from our house to yours.
Well, it's that time of year again. And the one word that summarized 2020, gosh, it seemed like such a long time ago, was uncertainty. 2021 continued to be challenging on several fronts. Not only did the global pandemic surge on, but here in BC, our hearts went out to the many communities and families affected by the devastating wildfires and the recent floods and mudslides. And the rebuilding of roadways and communities will continue into 2022. While it seems that our strength of spirit continues to be tested, I'm filled with optimism and hope through the heartwarming stories of the people stepping up and helping their fellow neighbors, both near and far. On behalf of the BC and Yukon branch of the Kidney Foundation of Canada, I would like to wish each of you and your loved ones the very best for this holiday season. Be kind, be safe. Cheers to a healthy, happy, and safe new year.
And we featured part 2 of our heartwarming interview with Chris and her son Mitch as they shared more of Mitch's journey.
He was upstairs and he came out and I could see this glow on him. And I knew it was a physician and I felt it. And then all of a sudden he says, Mom, I think I'm getting my transplant. And then he's like, here's the doctor. And it was like, we need you to leave Chilliwack in an hour. It was such an exciting time for our family because we truly received a gift of life. But so sad because somebody else had lost somebody. So it was very, what I didn't want to have happen to my son had happened to another person's family. And I will be forever grateful. And I don't know who this family is because it's an anonymous donor. But my gosh, if they ever see this, their loved one saved his life, and they will always live through Mitchell.
Yeah.
Wow, what an epic year 2021 was. We're looking forward to bringing you more informative and entertaining episodes in 2022. So make sure to join us right here on Kidney Plugged In.